Update 23.8. This is a Nezha heavy update. As you can see, the deluxe skin has arrived. It actually says collection. Well, it's the deluxe skin, and if we come and have a look at it, this thing actually looked amazing when they actually showed it off. It still has the ring on the back, it's still on fire. It's the rest of the skin that looks really nice. But it's not just this that's come in. There is the Syandana there, which you can't really see that well, and the Teng Dagger Skin. That's a better look at the actual skin itself for Nezha instead of that deluxe one, which they've kind of turned it so you can see the Syandana, but that is way better. Especially considering when they did try and show this off, there was like mishaps and the camera kind of zoomed on this particular area, which this isn't going to do. This is of course one of those deluxe skins that is going to be quite expensive, and this time around the dagger and the Syandana, though the Syandana you can kind of see it there, it's going to be easier. Trying the skin on first, it's quite a nice skin. I mean, compared to the sheath itself that I'm putting it on, you can see from the picture here, that looks pretty impressive if I take all of the colours off and make it back to its standard colour, but it's not one of those weapons you see that often, and not one that is used that often because it goes on daggers. It looks way bigger and way better on this. I don't really have a dagger that I use. There isn't that many of them, sadly. I also said it first time around, compared to the standard helmet, I mean, that's probably the only one I would go for. None of the other ones really do any justice to him. This one, I still prefer that over this one. But for the sake of this, we'll obviously be throwing that on as well as the actual skin. And yeah, still has bulge. But it's this part that looks absolutely amazing. Standard, nothing really special. Oh wow, just the flame effect alone all over this frame has made this just, I mean, it can't be put into words. That looks absolutely amazing. Look at it, it's actually got kind of smoke coming out of the mouth, the eyes are on fire, the dagger goes really well with it, and yeah, okay, I'll give you that much. Feet are kind of melting into the floor, but damn, that actually looks really nice, until of course you start to turn and that happens to the dragon's mouth. That just looks wrong. I like the way that it opens. I'm not such a big fan of how it kind of just gets all warped out of shape and looks kind of weird. This of course is probably the first frame in a while where they've concentrated more on where you see the frame, because you mainly see the frame from the back. So you're going to see this all the time versus making them look really good from the front for everybody else. Not to say that the frame looks horrible from the front or anything else, because the knee plates look pretty good. And that helmet is actually growing on me. It goes really well with the whole outfit, but I mean, come on. There's just no getting around that. That dragon head with the circle looks absolutely amazing, and more so if you actually used the abilities and got it to go away, but for some reason I can't get it to do that while actually in here looking at this. And even with some of the abilities going with the fire round, I don't know, there's been a lot of deluxe skins recently, but this one's got to be up there, especially with that dragon looks amazing. The main thing that kind of spoils it is it's kind of blocking the dragon. The Syandana looks nice by itself, and from that angle there you can still see the dragon. It actually looks really nice, but if you turn it a slight little bit and you kind of lose the sight of the dragon. And then there is the rework. Rather than make this its own separate video, I will try and quickly add it onto this. The first thing you will notice is in the top right. the max rank health has moved unmodded from 225 to 375, but the max rank shields, again unmodded, has decreased from 225 to 150. That actually makes him quite weak on the shields, quite good on the health. Moving to the first ability, Firewalker, well, the animation has been changed to a little hop, and it is now duration based. You can see I'm running around, it is actually leaving fire behind, and wow, actually that animation for the fires looks probably the same as it was before. I've just don't use them that much, so I never really noticed, and I have just re-enabled all of the particles that were disabled beforehand, so yeah, I didn't even realise I had them. But the reason they've made it like this is you would miss out a lot on energy regen if you were using the first ability, Firewalker. You were running around, you weren't getting it. As you can see, using the focus system, I gained power there while this ability has been active the whole time. So modding Nezha, now going to be kind of heavy on the duration. For Blazing Chakram, you now have a charged thing in the middle. You can see it in the middle of the cursor there. It charges and throws. This will do more damage. It seems to do a little bit more distance as well if you charge it. But actually, and I need to activate Firewalker for this first, teleporting will no longer knock you out of Firewalker, which is great. Enemies hit by this, because it will bounce around enemies more now before actually coming back, so it can be gone for longer. But enemies will be marked by this, and when you kill them, they are going to drop health orbs, but not marked. Okay, that's just kind of on fire. That's the marker. The fire goes up and down on them. And actually, I honestly cannot remember how that used to work the first time round, before this all these changes and everything else, but I can now understand why people use Nezha more, because actually being in here, these abilities are actually really good, and I really hope they weren't like that before, because I think I've been missing out here, because this by itself, yeah, how long has he been able to do that for? Then there is, and yes, my Sentinel is killing the level 100s out there, Warding Halo, the third ability. As you can see, the invulnerability phase happens instantly. All animations here have been sped up, but it's now gone down. The massive downside to this, more than anything else, is it will no longer block as much damage. It now only blocks 90% of the damage, and when it runs out, it supposedly gives off a burst of heat. Ah, there it goes, it does work. I was trying to get next to this enemy because I thought that one was dead. And it will now cause a fire proc to surrounding enemies, which is actually pretty nice. But don't have the best of builds, so it kind of ran out really quickly. And I'm still trying to figure out where the rest of these enemies went. There should have been 20 of them. And well, we all know what the Divine Spear does. Pretty much that. But now your Blazing thing, you can see that, look at how many of them there was there. It will now bounce and produce more. If it hits an enemy that is under the influence of these spikes, it will produce more of them. Okay, granted, they're not exactly dealing an insane amount of damage, but if you think about this from a crowd controls perspective... Oh, did not mean to do that. Yeah, and they're still coming in, and there it is. There's a lot of them. This have sped up the animation of everything, as I mentioned before, to just an insane... I don't know, I'm actually looking forward to trying Nezha out a bit more, but weirdly, it's not just Nezha that's had kind of major changes in this update, and this will kind of be more important tomorrow, for console players at least, because, well... Oh, game crashed. They have also made some changes to the Revenant. We'll cover these a bit more in the next coming days, because I'm not really sure how to go around this one, plus this video is getting ridiculously long. You can now have 7 enemies controlled by Enthrall. After they die, the towers that pretty much only damage enemies that go around them will now shoot a projectile out of them, kind of like the Phantasma did, which makes them more useful after death than they were, so they're a little bit better. They have now made Mesmer Skin, the second ability, recastable, which is actually great. I really like that one, just simply down to the fact that sometimes you're going into an area and it's about to run out, you know it's going to run out, you go in knowing it's going to run out, it runs out and you die. Kind of annoying, so being able to cast it before running around a corner where you know there's enemies, I like that change a lot. They have changed Reeve, the energy cost has gone down to 50, Revenant is now fully immune to damage while reaving. What is reaving again? Oh, when you dash through an enemy. Okay, I was looking at the image here and it was kind of the laser hands. Yep, that's the fourth ability. So I was getting quite confused there, which, if I'm honest, in looking at this, when Reeve is cast while in Dance Macabre, energy cost lowered by 25%. This allows for quicker, risk-free placement of... It allows you to move around much better than it did before. The energy cost being lowered to 225, it costs 50, so it actually means you will be able to move around in Dance Macabre much better. And all in all, everything so far seems to be just a little bit better. They did go on to say that they fixed Revenant Reeve using the wrong value, inability to damage Revenant's enthralled enemies with one of the weapons. There's a few other things that have been fixed, but honestly I want to play with him a bit more to see if this was a nerf or a buff. To be honest, the changes allowing you to use Mesmer Skin again, move around in Dance Macabre using Reeve, Enthrall actually having the towers do something. This could all actually be really good changes for him, which could save him quite a lot. And why do I have a green thing hanging off my back? Oh, because my weapon is visible. I need to change that. But we'll leave this off here for now, because I already know this has gone way too long. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.